Hello everyone, Malfight here, and today I want to talk about the new Rogue roster, or whatever team buys them out in the LEC. This is the last roster that gets completed in the LEC 2025 season, and we are starting off hot. I'm gonna go one by one, starting with the top lane, and then jungle, mid lane, AD carry, and finally the new support for Rogue or whatever team buys them. So we're starting off hot with Adam in the top lane. And I'm really glad that I see this name being in the LEC. Adam, obviously a very huge name for the LEC, for the European League. He was known by his champion pool, the Gods, when the Gods was the anthem of the Worlds, not the last Worlds, but I think it was the 2023 Worlds, when they were with Team BDS in the plains. And he had the champion pool of Garen, Olaf, Darius, Seth, right? It was so these really cool melee damage dealers. You even can see it here, right? His favorite champs. It's literally gods. It spells gods. So Adam, obviously, a very strange player in the sense that he is considered a bit toxic. His attitude is considered to have issues. He was benched from BDS and then JeongHoon had to come in and so on. So probably not many people want to play with him. However, he is still a very strong mechanical player and still a young talent that is developing. And he is kind of a staple for the European League of Legends, and so it's very cool to see him back in the league. On the other hand, it's a bit unfortunate that since he is the 10th confirmed top laner, at least for the first split, we are not going to see players like Wunder, like Finn, and most importantly, like Photon, who was very strong, and now he will be not coming back to the league. But Adam's still a very strong pickup. I even made a video about how Rogue can still build a very strong competitive roster, and I was talking about Adam as an option for the top lane, and I'm really glad that it actually happened. So we have Adam in the top lane for the new Rogue team, or whatever their buyer is. Let's move on to the jungle, and their jungle is none other than Malrang. So you guessed it, or maybe you didn't. Depends on if you knew this, but Malrang is returning, or at least rumored to be returning to the Rogue lineup. So obviously, Malrang played for Rogue. I think they even did really well together. Malrang was known as kind of the jungler who was really facilitating the players. He was giving up his camps and just coming to help, coming to gank, and he was always, like almost always behind on farm against his opponent jungle. But this playstyle was actually working, I think, at least in the regular season. I think Rogue even won it or something like that. But overall, I personally do not like that playstyle a lot. It kind of worked out for them in the roster, but since then, he even stayed when Rogue rebranded to Koi. That was kind of a disaster, and then he was in the Brazil on Kaboom Esports. But yeah, I don't know. For me, Malrang is a bit of a strange player. Very unique though. It's a big name in the league. Previously been on Damwon Academy, obviously. So still a strong player, and it's going to be really interesting to see him back in the league. Actually, I think one of the better pickups that Rogue could have gotten, I think maybe there was option to get Selfmade, but I don't know. I mean, maybe Adam and Selfmade in one team would have been too much of a clash / too much of a risk for the whole team and also the players as well, and probably sponsors and whatnot, the whole PR, basically, to have such two players with such an attitude on one team. So Malrang, I would really like to know actually what do you think about this pickup in the comments, but I think from what they had, from the options they had, I think Malrang is a very good pickup nonetheless, and so I'm really happy that they managed to do such a thing. Moving on to the mid lane, I think this one is obvious. It's Larssen. I'm actually happy for Larssen that he got a solid roster to play with next year. It was looking very doomed for him, given that he was just the last player, just 1v5 on his team alone. And so it's really cool to see that now he's gonna be alongside Adam and Malrang in the top side. And so Larssen, a Swedish player, he's kind of a veteran of the LEC. He's been playing in the LEC for a long time. First with Ninjas in Pajamas, then H2K Gaming for a little bit, and then finally, since he got it into Rogue, he has just been there for a long time. So he is basically a staple player for this team. He's been he's been with them since the beginning. Still a strong player. I think he was a bit underrated recently. His performance kind of lackluster, but I think he can still step it up. He's very good on these scaling mages. You can even see it here: Corki, Azir, and Rise. So you're pretty, you're just pretty classic champ pool. So pretty much any meta can be good for Larssen, but maybe not the AD carry in the mid lane, which we saw now. But maybe the meta is going to shift and we're going to see Larssen shine once again. We have to see. But now moving on to the bot lane, let's see who the bot lane players are. We have Patrik, and in the video that I made when I was talking about the possible roster for Rogue, I highlighted Patrik as their best possible pickup for the AD carry position. Is still a AD carry player from the LEC. He got replaced by Noah in the GIANTX, but he is still a very strong player, and so I'm glad to see him coming onto this team. Since the offseason was so late, I don't think Rogue had many options, but given that Noah replaced Patrik in the GIANTX, it's very cool to see him coming to this team. And I think, although he's probably not gonna be on the top of the list in the AD carry position in the LEC, he's a still very nice pickup, and I think it makes this roster very solid, given that they're going to have these experienced, just solid players. So in my eyes, Patrik is similar player as Larssen, where he just he plays all the classic champions and he's very solid on them, similar as Larssen in the mid lane. And so I think just this solidness in the roster, with also Adam in the top lane just can like unleash his craziness and so on. I think this roster can actually do really well, but let me know in the comments how well do you think this roster can actually do. So that's about it for Patrik, but moving on to the support, and that's actually the position I'm most excited about, because I thought we are not going to see this player back in the LEC, but it is happening, and it is Execute. And I personally am a huge fanboy of Execute. It's been a year since he went to Korea to play for, first Sandbox, and then they renamed to Fear X. Then he got demoted to the Academy again, and now we'll see him back in the LEC. I think he is an exceptional player. At least, when he was in that Astralis, I think he was one of the best supports. At times, maybe the best support in the league. I think he was playing with Kobe, and Kobe was a solid player, but Execute just kind of made him shine. And back then he was named JeongHoon, which is actually his name, right? Another very experienced player who just plays all the solid stuff, but he's really good also on the crazy stuff, like Pyke, for example, right? His favorite champion here. So I'm really excited for this roster, because they still managed to land very solid players. And I think Patrik, in my eyes, is a very similar player to Kobe, and I think Execute, or JeongHoon, can make him shine similarly. And so I'm really hyped for this roster in the end. I think, considering what they had to deal with and how long it took them to actually assemble the roster, I think this was a crazy good offseason for Rogue, or whatever team ends up buying them. So finally, since I have all the players, now I can move on to making these power rankings, tier lists, and whatnot. But now it's your turn to let me know in the comments, what do you think about his roster? How strong will this roster be? What do you think about the players? Would you like to see other players at the positions? Or, you can let me know who's the best out of these players, and so on and so on. I think with Execute coming in, I think our support pool is really stacked. I'm just a little bit sad we are not going to see like Trimby and Kaiser in the LEC, but other than that, it's really cool. So stay tuned for more videos like this. Make sure you smash like for more videos like this, subscribe, stay rock solid, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.